Oh wow! It went
Yeah.
live immediately.
It goes live immediately, but there's a lag
I think
on.
I think it's because we have an intro screen that we throw
Right.
up, and it
Well, that
mutes our
that way
mic.
it gives people a chance to find the feed, and it shows up on Facebook
Yeah, it
before.
Okay.
it shows up very fast. So
Yeah, I know it does, but yeah, I mean, I'm used to the way we do that. Joe does it because he's got it set up with our intro and everything, and that you
Well,
know.
I learned that trick. That was from
So that's why I was a little surprised. So
well,
don't.
if you want to help me do an intro, because I would love to do a longer than a 30-second intro. I don't know how to do that. I am very computer illiterate. I'm dumb when it comes to computers, pretty much. Uh, and
Really?
I, you
That
know,
bad?
I feel like I am. There's days where it just doesn't work out. I don't know. I'm not that computer literate. I think I know what I'm doing half the time, and then I'm like, no, no, somebody else do this. And it's funny because my coworkers will come, Holly, come fix this, and then I'm like act like I know what I'm doing, but I really don't know what I'm doing.
everybody comes to me. It's my computer. My
So
computer.
whatever. It
But
is what it is. Oh, I'm sending it to Janet. Hopefully they'll watch.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
All right. So okay. Hi everybody. Hi Peggy. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight we have Joe and Mark from the Insane Asylum. Their names have changed as they instructed me in the beginning. It's no longer the Joe Show. All right. So tell me a little bit about who you guys are.
Well, I'm Mark. I'm from Wisconsin, or live in Wisconsin. I'm actually originally from California. Um, I've been involved in the paranormal for quite some time. I actually, when I was about 15, I started an interest. I had an interest in Wicca, and I started studying and practicing Wicca.
Oh,
And then
nice.
just before I moved out here to Wisconsin, the woman that moved me out here, um, I kind of gave Wicca up for her because it freaked her out. She didn't quite understand it and really didn't want to take the time to understand it.
Hmm.
So the things about it kind of freaked her out. So
And that happens.
right, and now I've re-embraced my Wicca, um, and started practicing again and doing things, and it seems like my life's gotten easier and the door kind of opened for me more. So I'm having a good time with it.
Well, maybe I need to have you on the show and talk about Wicca. Why am
Okay.
I hearing if I'm hearing
Yeah.
myself echo?
Yeah, yeah. If you ever want to talk about Wicca, do a show on that. That's fine. I
Oh,
also
absolutely.
I also do tarot cards.
I have about 6 decks of tarot cards, and I couldn't even tell you how to use them.
I've got
I just collect them because I think they're pretty.
I've got 3 decks. That one I actually like quite well, and I have the original Rider deck somewhere in this place, and I can't remember where the heck I put it.
Yeah, I have I think 4 tarot and 3 oracles. So I just collect them like I collect my stones. You know.
They do have some of them do have different types of pictures, and the pictures of them, the illustrations are really nice.
They're pretty cool. So hi everyone. I see Ace, Jennifer, Mort,
All right, my
Rosie, Tim.
now I guess it's Joe's turn now.
Yep. I like Joe's flag in the background.
oh, that's not a flag. That's just a backdrop, like a photo
Yeah, I
backdrop.
It's
like
kind of
that.
like what
So
you've got behind you there, Holly.
oh yeah, that's my tapestry. It's a skull.
Yeah, it's the painted skull. Isn't that like a
Yeah,
Mardi Gras,
yeah,
or is it the
it's a sugar skull.
Okay, yeah. It's like the celebration, or what they use for the celebration of the Day of the Dead, right?
Mhm. Yep,
Yep.
I like skulls. All right, Joe.
Anyway, You got Joe from the insane asylum. I got into stuff like this. I've been into watching the shows since I was a kid, all those types of shows, looking into the strange, unanswered, unexplained, whatever. But it wasn't until 95 when I started believing that anything's possible. Okay. At 95, I was diagnosed with leukemia and actually died a few times. And they had to resuscitate me. And during that, I had some out of body experiences. So you tend to believe a lot and reassess things when you get that close to knocking on death's door.
Right.
So, and then Mark, since I've been disabled since 2001, but it wasn't until I moved that Mark and I decided to do the podcast thing. And we changed our format from pissing people off to doing the paranormal thing in March of 2019. And it's been a blast ever since. We've met quite a few people. COVID was like a blessing in disguise in a way. Because of my compromised immune system, we weren't going to go out and investigate.
Right.
So instead, we found StreamYard, what we're using now, and we started having guests from all over the world and all walks of the paranormal realm. And
Right.
it's been a blast ever since.
It is
And
fun. And I think that's how I started too, was because of, COVID happened. So nothing to do except talk to people online.
Well, we were going out on investigations. We've been out on quite a few investigations, but we had to put that to stop when the outbreak happened. We had to put a stop to it because there was no way I was going to leave my house. And I didn't for almost 2 years now. I haven't really left my house much at all.
Oh, goodness.
So I'm not taking any chances with that stuff.
No, and I don't blame you. I had it last year and it kind of sucked. So not gonna lie. I'm finally now just getting my sense of smell back, like totally back.
Oh wow.
So
yeah, it does take a long time. We had a friend of mine that I knew for 20 plus years. She got it real bad where she lost her sense of taste and her sense of smell, and it took her a long time, and she's still recuperating.
Oh yeah, I still have somewhat of a cough that comes and goes, so it sucks because when I start coughing at work, they kind of look at me like, it's still from when I had it last year. Don't worry, I'm not sick.
Well, I went out and got vaccinated right away.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not doing that.
I don't take no chances. After I got leukemia, I don't take no chances.
And everybody has their reasons to get it and not getting it. So I've really strongly against them right now because we had a incident happen with my ex-husband. So yeah.
People will have like a bad reaction to something, and that will paint their outlook on whatever it was. I mean, I won't let them ever give me morphine ever again.
Right.
I keep telling them I'm allergic to it, but I'm not.
Right.
They just sent me home cold turkey one day when I was going through all the leukemia stuff, and I went through morphine withdrawals.
Right.
And that was like hell. That was like went through hell. That was bad.
Oh yeah, morphine's not good. Well, I'm glad you're here and you're still kicking. That's awesome. You're still
here forever. I'm a vampire. That's great.
Awesome. I love vampires. We could talk about vampires if you'd like, because we're going to talk about cryptids tonight.
Well, I guess vampires and mummies and werewolves do fall under the cryptid, I do believe.
Look at Rosie Page is restricted too. She's got the tether on. Rock on, girlfriend. We're in it together. We were talking about getting how I was had that tether on for another 5 days because Facebook doesn't like me because I said said something to my paranormal BFF.
Y'all need to behave.
It's easy to offend people nowadays.
Yeah, Rosie's in jail. Oh, poor Rosie, and she's the sweetest thing ever. All right, so let's talk a little bit about. Hi, Eddie Pence. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about cryptids. share with me what you know about cryptids, because I'm new to the field. And yes, I've heard of aliens, and I mean, I believe in
Well,
aliens.
aliens
Actually.
is different than the cryptids. They
Yeah,
Yep.
they
call
are.
them.
But Loch Ness Monster has always been one of my favorites stories.
Mhm.
Then there's Bigfoot. Not a Bigfoot believer. Then there's the Pukwudgie, which I kind of sort of believe, especially because a friend of ours caught a
Pukwudgie? Is that what you
Pukwudgie.
said?
Yeah, Pukwudgie.
Where do you hear of this one? I'm
Oh
not familiar.
no!
Enlighten me.
Oh, the Pukwudgie is okay. So Hinsdale has a Pukwudgie story, and they remind me of little trolls. I am hearing myself echo. That's not good. Anybody else hear me echoing?
No,
Yeah, I heard it echo,
I don't hear it.
but not now. That
Okay.
time you talked, it didn't.
I apologize if I'm echoing to anybody. I don't know why. I'm like I said, I'm computer
Well,
illiterate. I don't know
I
why.
just thought maybe you just like to repeat yourself.
I got a little stutter going on. But anyways, Pukwudgies remind me of little trolls. They're really not good. From what I remember people saying is that, and Ace could tell me, Eddie Pence could tell me a little bit more because they know about it. But they were they would what's the word I want to use? Kind to like trick you into coming into the woods, like with I want to say candy or whatever, like the little kids, and then they would like turn them into like nasty little things. So I don't know. But there's the thing
Almost
called
sounds like an
Pukwudgie.
imp.
Yeah.
They look like if you look up what a
No,
if you look up Pukwudgies, they
I'm
look
gonna
like trolls.
have to look that one up.
Well, I was saying they the way you're describing it kind of sounds almost like an imp.
Yeah, northern east of North America is where you'll find them, like in the Indian burial, like Indian grounds.
You know, they could be like guardian spirits of the Native American areas as well.
I think actually then Indian folklore. There you go.
Hmm.
I think that Native Americans were actually fearful of them because they weren't nice.
So evil spirits.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they're not nice. And actually, Jeff Fent has a picture of what we what he thinks is one in a tree. It looks like a pukwudgie if you look up what it is. So it's really cool.
Does it look like Mark by any chance?
No,
Yeah.
No.
not Mark.
No.
No, looks like more
I
like
look
it looks like a hairy little troll.
Figuring out where he came from.
I look
It-
more like a troll living under a bridge.
I don't think so. These are hairy trolls. You're not hairy.
I was this morning before I cut all this off.
Oh wait, we weren't supposed to talk about that. It's bald is beautiful. Sorry. All right, so let's hear about your cryptids. What do you know about the cryptids? Teach me.
You want to say anything, Joe? Or you want me to?
Well, we've got a few of them around here. Where do you want to start? We've got one that was, I believe, like I said, I believe anything's possible. But we've got one. What was that? Rhinelander came up with this idea. Somebody in Rhinelander came up with this idea a long time ago to create this cryptid character or creature is a better word to boost tourism. Okay, thing is totally fake, and this was back in I think they did this back in like the 1800s. This happened. I think it was.
Mhm.
Anyway,
I can't remember when it happened.
yeah, it was like way back when. Okay, but today people still believe that they see this. Now, what is that called? A topa. It's like
Yeah.
somebody has enough belief or enough people believe in an idea or something like that that it creates enough energy to bring it into our reality.
Right. To manifest it into an existence.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
tulpas can be anything. They can
right.
be anything from a fae to all the way up to like the Loch Ness monster actually could be a tulpa. If enough people actually believed in something like that, then it
So
would
like
then it
Bigfoot.
could actually be
Here
manifested.
here that hodog or whatever you want to call it
The
has been
Hodag or Hodag.
classified as a cryptid under the paranormal world. So some
The
people yes,
Rhinelander Hodag.
yeah.
Okay. I'll have
That's
to look that up.
that's one form. But we do have some interesting ones. You're in Michigan, right? Correct.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you've heard of the Michigan Dog Man.
I have.
Mhm.
Okay. We have a similar creature called the Beast of Bray Road. Okay. Now that dates back to I think it was the 30s, 1930s, when the first documented sighting of that existed. It's a long, dark, about 2.5 mile road at night. If it isn't a full moon, you don't have no light on that road except your headlights. That's it.
Oh.
All right.
And you do have the houses along there, but they're a few,
Yeah,
you know,
they're so
few here
far
and there,
apart and so
and
far
they don't have
road.
very bright lights out
Right.
or
Right.
anything.
And if they're
So
outside
it's a pretty
lights
dark
are
road.
on, it's not going to help you much anyway either. So, you go down this road, and my point is that if you're driving alone at night, 11, 12 o'clock at night, midnight, and you see a wolf or a coyote maybe eating roadkill, mind can play tricks on you. I
Right.
mean, there's a chance that it could be something like misidentifications in some cases, but how many of those, there's a lot more of those that are by legitimate witnesses, and what I mean by that, people that are out in the woods almost every day because they're hunters, of all sorts. They love to hunt turkey,
Right.
deer, so they know the wildlife in the area. They're not going to mistake anything, you know,
Actually, yeah, they could.
but not normally.
I have to disagree with him on that because even if you're an avid hunter, if it's dusk or early dawn,
Yeah, I know the mind
you
can
don't
play
have you
sometimes.
don't have that light perspective out there for you. So your mind does fill in the blanks whenever things do
Well,
happen.
yeah, especially if you're out there alone.
And so, there still is that possibility of having that
But with all the reports
misunderstanding of what it is.
But with all the reports and all of them so close, to the same thing,
I know. I know.
it's hard to believe that everybody misidentified a creature in the
No,
same.
I understand that too. But one of the things that I would actually disagree with too is the fact that, you know, seeing a wolf in that area, a coyote, yes.
Well, yeah, that's why
A
I
stray
wasn't done
dog,
yet.
yes.
I wasn't done yet.
A wolf, I don't believe so
But
because
see, I wasn't done yet because
wolves in Wisconsin are way deep north.
I was
Right.
getting to the best part yet. All right. So like I said, there's something there. We drove down that road ourselves
Oh, there is something there. I'm not gonna
late at night.
deny that.
Wasn't it kind of raining and stormy that night?
No,
Or that was a
no,
different road, wasn't
that was a different road.
it? Anyway, we went out there the first night to drive down it just to scope the area out. We didn't see nothing, but we could easily see how something could be out there. Okay.
Yeah.
Later, we got we got into connection with a person that owns some property not too far away from Bright Road. And when we got there, we got a lot more than what we bargained for.
Right.
This place has been kind of dubbed the Skinwalker Ranch of Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I'm not the first one that had said that.
No, we heard this from somebody else that that was doing did a video on it and that we watched, and they mentioned it first. But he's seen the Beast of Bray Road there. He's got castings. He's got photographs from trail cameras. But not only does he got that, he's got pictures of UFOs. He's got what possibly could be on a Bigfoot. It's amazing the activity that goes on in that property.
I have a very hard time with the Bigfoot, and it's still one that I'm
So
very.
what is it about Bigfoot that you have that hard time with?
I think it's because why has no one ever captured one? Why hasn't that happened? Out of all these years that people have been seeing these sightings, not one person has captured a Bigfoot.
They
And
say they have, and the body disappears.
how?
I don't know. That's
Why is there like no like piles
Well,
of
that's
poo and like I mean
right.
like
You're looking for scat. I know the DNA evidence.
yeah.
The
Why is there none of
the
that?
reason some of this isn't being found, or you're actually, you getting the blurry pictures. You haven't really got
Yeah.
a perfectly clear picture since. I mean, we can go back to what was it, 1967? I think it was the Patterson footage.
Yeah, 65 or something like that.
That was the best
Mhm.
there ever was. Okay, there hasn't been anything better really since then. But that goes in and supports the theory that it's like an interdimensional being,
That's what I've heard too. Yeah.
coming and going through portals.
That's one of the theories, yes.
That's one of the theories I've heard
One
too.
of
And
the
I was
many
like,
theories, but that's
okay.
what they're publishing around the world.
I just
all
have a
theories.
very hard time about that not one person has caught one yet. I mean, like you brought up hunting. You brought up hunting. Like, yeah, I know a lot of people who are hunters and
Yeah, but if you were out there, think about this. If you were out there and you saw a Bigfoot and you were a hunter, and you're out there deer hunting, would you want to shoot one? Would you
heck
actually
yeah.
shoot that?
Heck yeah, I would.
I couldn't do it.
I'm sorry, but
but
I'd be like, I'm getting this bad boy
I'd be
because
like, fuck, I
someone's
can't
gonna believe
cell
me.
phone, or
yeah, but here's a problem with that. What if you're out there hunting and you see what you believe is a Bigfoot and it's somebody screwing around and you
Exactly.
shoot them?
yeah, now you're going to be arrested.
Now what's going to happen to you?
Yeah.
Well, their
know?
dumbass just got shot because
Oh,
they're screwing around in a costume. And
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, they could have been a black bear, and I shoot a black bear.
Wait a minute.
Whatever. I
And
mean,
depending on,
I'm not a hunter. I'm not a
when you go out
hunter.
hunting,
I
you
don't know the rules, but I'm
better
just
check
saying.
some of the laws in some of the states, because they've actually some of the states in the United States.
I believe it was Oklahoma, by the way.
Under wildlife protection. So
I believe Oklahoma
illegal.
actually.
Yep.
I believe it was Oklahoma actually declared Bigfoot as a protected species.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I do believe they did that.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard something like that. I didn't
So yeah, but I mean the whole thing is, it's like Joe said, one of the theories of Bigfoot is that it's a interdimensional creature, that it can actually open and close portals and travel in between our dimension and its dimension and other dimensions.
Okay, so how is it then maybe not all cryptids are interdimensional? They can travel between dimensions, like Loch Ness Monster. Nobody's really.
Well,
I mean,
let me
heard the stories of Loch Ness, and I love it, and that would be really
Okay.
cool to see in person. But nobody's ever really seen that, but far away too.
Okay, but let me say something like this too. All right, the Loch Ness, all right, the loch where the Loch Ness Monster is supposed to be,
Mhm.
has access to the ocean.
And it's very deep, very dark,
Okay,
and very cold.
it's a very deep, narrow, and dark loch.
Right.
Now, the theory behind the Loch Ness Monster is that it's a plesiosaur. Plesiosaurs are supposedly extinct.
Right.
Now, with it having access to the oceans, okay, keep in mind, mankind has explored and knows more about outer space than we know about our own oceans.
Oh, I totally believe
We
that.
it has not been very long ago that we have finally been able to actually put a manned submersible on the floor of the ocean and by the Marinara Trench. And that's
Yeah,
supposed to
still
be
go
the
deeper.
deepest part of the ocean.
I don't know. I still think it's
And there
part.
are actually right now there are reports that have come out of great white sharks, and I'm talking like 14-foot great white sharks that they
Mhm.
have got that had bites out of them. I mean, not just bite marks. I mean, entire chunks
Right.
taken out of
Now,
them.
what would that be from?
And those and the chunks, and there's actually a picture I found, and I should have downloaded it and I didn't, but I found some pictures on the internet where these fishermen brought in this great white shark. It was about 12 feet long, and it had an absolute just chunk taken out of it, bigger than its own mouth.
Hmm.
So
And
what
what-
the hell bit that shark? What bit into that shark and just took that chunk right out of it?
The megalodon.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
I,
go. Now, are megalodons are they truly extinct?
I don't
I
think.
don't think so.
Are now, but the thing is, are they a limited population of them if they are?
Who knows?
Because the ocean does provide a vast feeding area for a creature of that size. So, and there's actually a video taken by some people, some scientists in Australia. They were in the cage diving cage in the cage,
Mhm.
and they were filming and tagging great white sharks because over off of Australia's coastline there's a lot of great whites that go there and they migrate.
yeah.
They migrate, back and forth as the temperatures of the water um, change and everything. And they have this video of a shark that's about 14 feet long, and they can't figure out exactly what it is because it has a different its dorsal fins are different than the great white, but it's bigger or as big as the great white is.
New species.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
No.
They actually are that someone actually was saying because of the way that dorsal fin looked, that it was a juvenile megalodon.
Wow. Anyway,
So
Megalodons are cool.
megalodon, because of
I
it
was wondering.
being from the Cretaceous period, the dinosaur period, um, they can also be classified within the cryptid because cryptids basically mean creatures or animals of a nature that haven't existed on this planet for many a years, something that's went extinct before man even came into the picture,
Mhm.
or something that is hard to explain. So going back to the Loch Ness monster, then since the loch has access to the ocean, who's to say it may not be a plesiosaur of some
well,
sort?
Right.
that's the thing. I was going to bring that up because our little state, Wisconsin, has been on television all the way over there in Scotland when they were talking about the Loch Ness monster, because we have our own little Loch Ness monster right here in Wisconsin that gets sighted quite often. Apparently, um, it's over on the, what would that be, the far west side of the state, over there by the Mississippi River. It's actually right on the Mississippi River, Lake Pepin.
Yeah, Lake
It's one of
Pepin.
4 lakes that are part of the Mississippi River that runs through Wisconsin, and it's the biggest of the 4 lakes.
Well, the Mississippi runs between Wisconsin and Minnesota,
Minnesota,
and Wisconsin and Iowa. So you got
right.
Minnesota and Iowa, and you got Wisconsin, and the
But
Mississippi
it's up
runs
towards
down
the
through there.
Wisconsin Minnesota border area of that. and that's been spotted by a guy. I'm trying to think of his name. I think it's Larry Neeson. He's a paddle boat captain on that at that actual lake, Lake Pepin, and he's been on several TV documentaries on TV about lake creatures and lake cryptids and stuff like that. He's been on there talking about what he's seen. He gives tours of the lake all the time, and they've gotten, people have gotten pictures and gotten shocked seeing what they've seen. We went up there a couple of times, but where we went out there the one time we went out there, Mark wasn't with us. It was my wife and I were out there checking out some sites, and we were up there looking down and filming, and we saw something, but we were just way too high up to figure out exactly what it could have been. I'm thinking myself, it could have been some type of debris because the current was kind of strong and the way it was moving, like a log or something that fell off the trees, because there's quite a few of them, because it's like a cliffside there, so they're kind of hanging over the Mississippi to begin with. So if a branch breaks, it's going to fall in.
Right.
But I think it was caught up somewheres, and that's why it stood still for a while, and then all of a sudden it just started moving. But the current made it move funny, I think, because some people were just, the boats were having a rough time. You could see the caps, the white caps that day. But I'd like to go out myself and get a closer look.
Right.
I've talked to that paddle boat captain on the phone. I was supposed to go out and meet him, but things didn't pan out like, real life happens when you want to go do these investigations.
Right.
Happens. Try to make plans. Oh, well. That happens to us a few times. We go out and everything's going fine. We get back and the equipment's all screwed up because it didn't record anything,
I love when that happens.
Or the batteries go dead.
Yeah, I love when that happens.
Yeah, that's one cryptid that we've been interested in. We've also looked into one in Madison, but the one in Madison, I believe that's more of a sturgeon, a lake sturgeon that people are seeing over there in Mendota.
They get big.
Yes, they do. That's the thing,
They
sturgeons.
got that prehistoric look to them. If you
Well,
see 'em
that's
on the
because
surface.
sturgeons are actually a prehistoric fish.
Right. But I'm just saying,
And there are river and there are lake sturgeons.
yeah,
And both species of those sturgeons get huge if they don't get culled.
right.
If they don't get caught and removed, they can get enormous.
They,
Not only that, have you ever seen the back of a sturgeon? They have ridges.
Mm-hmm.
right. I know. That's
So
what I was
when
saying,
if they're big enough, if the sturgeon's big enough and it comes up and breaks the top of that water, you're going to have those ridges peering out,
and if they're
which is
big
going to
and
give
long,
that
you're gonna have
illusion that
those.
something's there.
You're gonna do the bump thing,
That there might be something that you're not familiar with there.
right?
I was gonna say, and if you're not an avid fisher or don't know much about fish, you're
I
gonna
don't.
go, "What is that?" I'm learning. I am
My
learning
dad
about
learned that
fish.
for me when I was a kid. But I do know the lake, and I know it is the deepest one in Madison, and it's like almost like a man-made, but it is fed. You can get to it through channels to all the other lakes. And if sturgeon, and I know some fish are like this, not all fish are like it, but some of the fish are like snakes, where they'll grow as big as their environment will allow them to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, yeah, I can imagine the size of one that could be in that lake.
That's our
Yep.
fish. That's our fisherman. Learning a lot.
Sturgeon are a very interesting looking fish in anyway.
And I know all those
And
lakes around Madison are connected by channels.
yeah, and every one of those lakes around Madison has sturgeon in them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there was actually a picture, it was funny, and I believe it was a paranormal person on TikTok. But there was a picture floating around. Somebody posted and it said, "What do you think this is?" And literally everyone, like the comments these people were making were hilarious to me. And I'm like, it's a squid. It came up to the surface because you can see like all these tentacles on it, and they're
Mhm.
like thinking it's Loch Ness monster with babies on its back and shit like that. And I was like, oh my god, what is wrong with you people? But I'm like, it is literally, you can tell it's an octopus or a
Mhm.
squid that came to the surface of the water.
Now,
But it was so far back that people were like, oh, what is that? What
I
is
love
that?
it
Like
when
it was
people
like
say
bigger
that
than the
it's
boat. And I was
up.
like, oh my god,
now
people.
since you mentioned squid, since you mentioned squid, wasn't too long ago that the Architeuthis was also considered a cryptid.
A what?
The Architeuthis,
Yeah, it was extinct.
giant squid.
They
Oh, okay.
It
considered it
was
extinct.
considered. It was considered. No, it was considered a cryptid.
Yeah, but it
Not necessarily extinct, but considered a cryptid. And they actually got footage of an actual giant squid attacking a lure. And this is a Japanese scientist got this idea. Let's put this lure together and put a camera on the line as we drop it down, and they actually got footage of
yeah, but
you
see
know
that same one
uh,
is
of an
back
Architeuthis.
right, but that same one that you're talking about is what they believe washed up on shore in Japan or someplace.
That's
That's
not the
not the
same
same
squid.
squid. Either way,
There was one that did wash up on the
it goes
shores.
back to the prehistoric times when the stories,
Hmm.
when you had the pirate ships and all that, and there was stories about the Kraken, attacking their boats.
Well, yeah,
Gotta come, those stories gotta come from something real.
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
it can. But a few years back, they actually weren't certain that they were still in existence. They knew that they did live in the ocean at one time, but it took actual
So,
these people getting video evidence that these things
find
are
a way.
still there.
Find a way.
Jennifer wants to know, so what else prehistoric has survived and adapted that we're not aware of? Do you know?
Well, you know that the alligators and the crocodiles are actually a prehistoric animal
Probably
that
the oldest
survived.
that's most common.
Monitor lizards, they're a relative of what the dinosaurs used to be.
I believe a lot of our reptiles are relatives of our dinosaurs.
Well, here's a good one for you. Did you know that birds are actually evolved species of dinosaurs?
Hmm.
That's why whenever scientists refer to the eagles or the falcons or the hawks or any of those kind of birds and everything, they call them raptors.
Hmm.
Birds of prey.
There are birds of prey, but they
Right.
refer to them as raptors
Right.
because they believe,
They're
scientists
vicious.
believe that they are what
Have you
the
seen
the dinosaurs used to
did I
be.
ever tell you that story when I went
Kind of
out?
interesting that you go and get a chicken and eat it and didn't realize that you're actually eating the descendant of a dinosaur.
All right.
Oh, yeah, the raptors were like a bird, like a yeah, that couldn't fly. They were smart too.
Yeah,
Problem
raptors were
solving
very smart.
and problem solving, but the thing is, those eagles, man, I have never seen a bird so majestic and at the same time be so vicious. I was
Oh
out at
yeah.
I was out at this property one day, and we were just sitting there, and all of a sudden, and it's like one of those days where it's like, "Where's the camera when I need it?" Um, and I saw this eagle, and it had a smaller bird in its talons, and it was flying somewhere. It just took off. It must have just caught it. The little bird got away, and before it got too far away, that eagle had it back again, and it landed right on the highway there and started eating it.
Hmm.
Said, "You ain't getting away again." And I mean, it just started ripping that thing apart. I mean, it wasn't really on the highway. It was like right on the gravel part of the road. but the cornfield wasn't up, so we could see the whole thing happen.
That's
You know,
cool.
and I didn't want to run back to the RV inside the shed to go get my camera and come back out and miss it all. You
Well,
know,
you didn't have your phone on you?
no, it was sitting back charging in the camper.
See, that's another thing too. That's why we have so many pictures of evidence and videos of evidence, is because now almost every single person in the world has a camera with
Okay,
them
but
at
that's
all
where
times.
okay, this is okay. So you're bringing up the phones because I've seen a lot of videos, especially on Instagram, Facebook, everything. All these social medias
Mhm.
of people taking pictures. I mean, recently I seen one about a mermaid. I think mermaids. I think they do. I
Now
do kind of
that
believe a little bit of mermaids, but I don't think they're like how Disney presents them.
No,
But
no,
there was
they're
a video. There was a video out there I saw about 3 months ago, and it looked like a mermaid. It had half fish, half body, but the facial expression was like so grotesque and like fangs and everything, like wicked hands looking. And it's like, how do I not know that is not put together by somebody who's computer wizard like you guys?
well,
You know what I mean? Like,
that's
what
always
if
a
there's
possibility.
CGI, there's all this stuff, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it's easy. I mean, it's easy, and it's getting cheaper for people to get their hands on that software that Hollywood
Mhm.
has.
mhm.
You know, um, you mentioned mermaids, and that's funny because I remember the first mermaid. I think it was called the Fuji mermaid. Um, it was P.T. Barnum had it. It was part of the Ringling Brothers thing, and it was like a monkey and a fish sewn together.
Yeah. This is the bottom half of a fish and the upper body of the
Body
monkey.
of monkey,
Yep.
Yeah,
and it
I
was
just,
called the Fuji mermaid or something like that.
yeah, I think I've heard about that. I mean, but it's just, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
I
I did see.
I think one of the coolest things that was ever made, Discovery Channel made this.
The
Some
mockumentary.
That mockumentary
Yes,
about the mermaids.
right.
That was one of the coolest damn
Oh, it was
shows I ever
believable.
seen.
It was so
And
believable.
everything they put together in there, it was very, very believable as to how that could have happened.
right.
And what they were trying to do was it was trying to draw attention to all the sonar testing that was going on and killing whales and
Yeah,
dolphins.
the sonar weaponry that our military was producing and
Yeah.
testing in the oceans, causing the whales and the dolphins to beach themselves. Do you remember back a few years back, whenever we were having issues with pods of dolphins and whales beaching themselves a lot?
Hmm.
That's because our navy, our military, was testing sonar weaponry, and it was screwing up, because
Oh yeah. Oh
that's how
yeah.
whales and dolphins navigate.
Communicate. Yep.
That's how they navigate. That's how they
Right.
figure out where
Right.
they're at. And it was screwing them up so bad that they wound up beaching themselves.
Mm.
And that was one of the reasons
That,
that
that
the
mockumentary.
Discovery Channel made that documentary or mockumentary, and it was to bring to light what was going on.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was cool as hell. It was so believable. It really was.
Jennifer says she's got to run.
Yeah, she's a good person. Thanks for
They,
watching. Ace, you make me laugh. He's been looking for a mermaid his whole life.
he's right. I hope that
I
he
hope
got,
you find her
he's
soon.
probably hoping that the mermaid turns into Daryl Hahn. Daryl Hahn.
Your Honor,
Yeah, from
Hey,
from
that's
Splash.
one of my favorite 80s movies.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was a good movie.
that
It
was
was.
a good movie. Good characters and very sad John Candy.
But we were also talking, just a little bit ago, we were talking about how birds are descendants of the
Mhm.
dinosaurs and everything. And then talking about birds, and you also have another one that's a cryptid, and it's a bird. It's the thunderbird, the
Mhm.
Native America's thunderbird. Now the whole
That's what
thing
I
is,
saw that day.
I'm thinking that's actually a real animal because there are cave paintings from early Native Americans that depict
I
this
think it goes back
particular
even
bird.
further.
Plus there are totems that depict this particular bird.
Yep.
Mhm.
Um, and that also, again, how was asking what else has survived. The possibility of maybe pterodactyls.
Yeah.
That maybe the thunderbird is a pterodactyl of some sort.
Or some descendant they're adapted somehow. It adapted.
Yeah,
The
it's a
Thunderbird, isn't
possibility.
that a car? I'm just kidding.
Yes, as a matter of
Version of
fact, it
Lincoln.
is, and Ford built it.
Version of Lincoln.
Kidding.
So that's another cryptid that's kind of
And then there's Mothman. Speaking of winged creatures
yeah.
and bird-like creatures, that's been getting spotted
Um,
quite a ways away
Oh
from the
yeah.
original sightings.
mhm.
The
I've seen a
original
lot of people
sightings.
talking about
Where were
Mothman
those?
lately.
Where were the original sightings?
The Mothman's original sightings was Mount Pleasant, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mount Pleasant, West Virginia, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
and there's been sightings reported of a Mothman type creature up in Michigan.
Chicago,
Oh yeah, down in Chicago by
around O'Hare,
O'Hare, around O'Hare Airport as well.
by pilots and people in the towers.
Well, see, I got a theory about the
now
Mothman.
why do you think? Okay, so not everybody sees these creatures. Not everybody,
Oh,
what makes you think that certain people see like the Mothman and the mermaids and
I don't know. I mean, I think you're just lucky, maybe in the right space or at the right
Not
spot, right
necessarily
time.
lucky. I think it's because of people
Maybe you're meant
people
to
who
see it.
tend people who tend to see these type of cryptids and different types of things of like that. I believe they're the more open minded ones, the more
But
accepting
that's a good one. I like.
accepting of what's out there, and they're really, and the reason they see these things, they're really actually wanting to see them and wanting, you know looking for them.
so. But okay, so if that's the case, though, wouldn't you think, like we talked in the beginning, saying your mind is playing tricks on you, and since they want it so bad that I mean,
Some
I could say
maybe,
the same thing about us paranormal, investigators, where we go and investigate spirits.
right? No, yeah, I can see where you're going with that as
Oh,
well, but it just doesn't necessarily mean that because you want it so bad you're gonna see it.
Right.
I
I
think
mean,
it's more of the
there's
fact
chance
that
that
you're more open minded to the things around you.
but,
You're more perceptive
but when
to
I was saying mind
what's
playing
there.
tricks at you, there's certain things that to take into consideration when you know when you're driving and you're out late at night and you've been driving a while. You're getting tired. Same road by yourself. You know,
Hmm.
y- you're gonna start. The mind's gonna play tricks on you one way or the other. You know, you see a coyote, yeah, and like he said, wolves that far south, highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But a coyote, probably.
Yeah.
But
And that doesn't mean that there wouldn't be a wolf there. I mean,
no,
it could
and
have
it was
Well,
with,
no,
with
the
like
the
here in Michigan,
see
the
the
like
Beast of
possibility
Bray
of a
Road.
wolf being there is there is a possibility
There's
of
a
it,
small possibility.
but it's a very very minute
They haven't
possibility.
migrated that far south yet. Here,
like here in Michigan, with all the
they've
building,
been
the
seen.
housing that's
They just,
going up in the farm,
Hmm.
farm areas and all that stuff, we actually see coyotes down here in the city now.
oh yeah,
like
we see coyotes
Hmm.
all over.
like we weren't used to that for a long time, and now all of a sudden, you might see a coyote on the side of the highway, and you're like, "Whoa, what's that dog doing there?" Oh, nope, that's not a dog.
Yeah, but
So yeah,
the Beast of Bray Road is more to be like a werewolf like creature. It supposedly walks bipedal. it's a bipedal creature. They've seen it walk
Hmm.
across the street on two, its hind legs. This also goes to, the stories are very similar to the Michigan Dogman stories. I mean, the witnesses we've actually talked to, the stories we've heard, the woman that wrote the book and actually dubbed it "The Beast of Bray Road"
Hmm.
are very credible people
Right.
and very
Not,
credible witnesses.
not to mention the fact that we went out there twice, once during the day, spent 8 hours out there interviewing the man that owns the property.
Yeah,
And then the next time we went out, we actually
night
had,
investigation,
yeah, we did a night investigation. We had a friend of ours come up from
mentor,
Illinois,
Dale Kazmarek.
and Del Kesmerick, and he actually investigated with us. And the experiences we had out there that night,
Were
there's
unbelievable.
definitely something there.
Yeah, so there's definitely something going on.
It is
That
crazy.
was a crazy night. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, there's by my work there's a cemetery, and this is not like cryptid or anything, but I was driving to work one day in the morning, and this is like a year ago, and I swear to God there was a guy standing on the side of the road, and when I approached him he was totally gone. And I was like, and I kept eyeing him. I could tell you exactly what he was wearing, and he was totally gone. And I was like, I just saw a spirit.
Yep. Like
And it was 8 o'clock in the morning, right as day it laid out. But the guy was like just standing there. And then when I got to that spot, he was like just disappeared. I was like, yeah, that was fun.
Highway 12 like quite a bit.
So I mean, I get it.
All
I was
hours of the
seeing
day.
different things, I'm sure I was still tired and didn't want to go to work yet. But
Well, they,
Aren't we all that way?
when
But
you're talking,
but even to this day though, like that was a long time ago, probably a couple years ago actually. I still remember that spot where he was standing, and I still look for him every morning to see if he returns.
Well,
I haven't seen him yet, but I know like
good. Hey, I got a suggestion because
What?
the way spirits run, sometimes they're like only show up on like the anniversary of something. Do you remember the date?
I do not know.
That's too bad.
I
Because
know.
maybe he only it only shows up on like a specific date every year.
Yeah,
One of those things. Because that is possible.
right.
I mean, anything's possible in this world, and people that are so close-minded aren't going to see that. And some of the worst people happen to work for the government sometimes, and I hate to say that because the DNR sucks around here. I mean, we have another cryptid that I was going to mention, and it's because people don't believe it exists, and it does exist. People, you can see them in the zoo. Most zoos will have one, and
It's
look
not
closely. Look
actually,
closely. I'll tell you what they really are.
Joe, it's not actually a cryptid, but
But
it
but
is a
they
real
say
it is a real animal.
but they say it is a cryptid in a way because some people say it doesn't exist. If you
It
look
does
it up,
exist.
no, but if you look up Black Panther, it really doesn't
Don't
exist.
say no. I said it does exist.
But what it is there's a the Black Panther is what I'm talking about. They say it doesn't exist here in Wisconsin. Okay, but I'm going to tell you why that's false in a second. A Black Panther, what it is truly, is either a leopard or a jaguar. This is what you'll see in the zoo, and if you look real close, you'll see the spots and stripes.
Hmm.
Okay, they have the opposite of albinoism. It's a disease, a pigmentation disease, and it'll turn the creature or whatever animal completely black. You know, but you'll see, if most of them have like different spots or markings, like a leopard or a jag, you'll might see some of that through the blackness. It can happen in any creature, felines. we've got a place called Mackenzie Center. It shows this, explains it all up there. Anyway, they say this doesn't exist, but it's been seen in Wisconsin. Well, we don't have leopards or jags in Wisconsin, so they say it doesn't exist. We do have cougars and mountain lions, however.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing could be happening to one of them, and that's what people are possibly seeing. And I believe that's what they are seeing.
Well, that's like any of the like other cryptids. And I know I will say it. I'm gonna say this totally wrong, but like I think it's the Tabara or Kookaburra, however you want to pronounce it.
Chupacabra?
Chupacabra.
Yeah, that one. I can never pronounce that right ever in my life.
Or
Goat
also
sucker.
known as goat sucker.
Yep.
Okay, so people always like, oh, it's one of those. I can't even pronounce it. I'm not even gonna try again. But it's people are like, oh, it's like this thing, but it's basically have mange, and I think sometimes I like when people talk about Bigfoot, I'm like, how do you know it's not a black bear that has mange or yeah.
A lot of possibilities, and I don't think that's.
I would suggest finding a video running of the Patterson film
Yeah, check out the Patterson
and
footage.
actually watch it, because that film was taken, I think, in 1966.
67
67 on a particular type of camera. It was a home video type camera.
in Oregon or Washington.
I think it was in Washington State.
Or
But
Oregon.
here's the thing on that. If you watch it and watch the movement of the creature, you can see the muscle movement under the hair. Now, the only way you're going to get that
is that the black and white footage of
Yes.
Bigfoot? Yes, I've
Yep.
seen it.
So the only way you're going to get that
That's
is
most-
that it is an actual hair, skin, muscle.
Kodak
because
got involved in that
If there is any kind of suit or anything over the leg, there's not going to be any muscle movement. You're not going to be able
Okay.
to see the muscle movement.
But there is a genetic, and I don't know the actual term of it, but I know like the circus.
Called werewolfism.
Yeah, that one.
There's a
See,
script.
you know what I'm even thinking. But what
But
if
that
that
wasn't
happened?
that wasn't someone with werewolfism.
Okay.
So
I gotcha.
yeah, and this, I mean, you can tell that this creature was very
Aw.
tall.
Hi, puppy.
That's his baby. I took him all the way up to mid Wisconsin to pick her up.
She's
Aw,
5 years
she's-
old.
She's pretty.
She's a purebred Siberian Husky.
And she's very vocal, and she will argue with you every.
Oh, I love those TikToks when they argue. Anyways, we have 2 minutes left. I want to say thank you for joining us, and thank you everybody for joining us in the comments. Next week we have Adam Ramos, and we're actually going to talk about the Mothman. So we're gonna learn a little bit more
Awesome.
about Mothman. You guys give me a little bit about him tonight, so we're gonna learn a little bit more next week on Mothman. But I do appreciate you guys joining me tonight. It was fun.
Thank you.
You
Thank
guys
you for
are fun
having
to
us.
watch.
Yeah, thank you for having
I
us.
always like watching your shows too. So
One more real quick thing.
okay.
Remember that legends and myths all have some sort of fact behind them.
They started
and
somewhere.
truth.
Stories started somewhere.
That's just like rules. Rules
Yep.
happen because somebody did something they weren't
Somebody
supposed
broke
to.
Exactly. But legends and myths all have some sort of fact and truth behind them.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, there we have it. I want to say thank you again for joining us, and you guys have a great night. Next
Yes,
on the
thank
RU
you.
Media Network is the Cryptid Show, and then the Petri Dish is on the Things Network. So you guys all have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Holly.